Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. All right, gosh, it's just getting wilder and wilder, isn't it? This is as you guys know, as I've been preaching from my pulpit, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but look how it's been turning out. As I said, what feels like years ago now. Yeah, do you remember when I was saying, guys, 29th of March, 2025, the rude awakening will be upon us, the great / rude awakening. I said there's going to be a lot of stuff that is going to happen that we've never seen before. And my God, isn't it living up to it? It is just bonkers. There is so much happening all at once, just like the film, everything, everywhere, all at once. And thank you. I just want to say something right at the top of the show. I just want to say thank you to new members here. So, Money's Girl, thank you so much. Chris McIntosh, thank you so much. Puppy Power, thank you so much. And Sharon Corrington, thank you so much for joining. So for those of you that don't know, many of you have joined, so I just want to say an extra thank you to everyone who signed up recently. Gosh, there's a lot of you. Thank you so much, and you're already enjoying the content. So as you guys know, we YouTubers, we have subscribers. So of course, people subscribe. It's free, as you know, you get a notification. But we also have membership as well. So in membership, that's where I upload a lot of the videos which are maybe kind of a bit too sensitive to talk about in public right now. In there, I've got various deep dives on people, like most people going for the fame and infamy package. But there it's where I can be even more candid about certain characters that we see operating in the world today. And I look into their charts and stuff. So recently, of course, I've done Stephen Miller. Oh, evil guy. That video's got a lot of views. I did CK's wife, Charlie Kirk's wife. Dodgy as you know what. I recently did Caroline Levitt as well. Very interesting chart. My God, she's playing games. She knows what she's doing is wrong. She's not quite as evil as Stephen Miller, who genuinely is just evil and messed up. I just saw something the other day, well, earlier today, someone posted who used to go to school with him, and he just says he was detested at school and he wasn't even allowed to have like animals at school because he would just like be nasty to them. And this apparently his biology teacher gave him a Tamagotchi, which, you know, you're supposed to kind of like feed, and he would starve the Tamagotchi. Horrible. So yes, so recent uploads. What is it? Erica Kirk, Stephen Miller, Caroline Levitt. I'm thinking I'll have to see who to do next. I might do Candice Owens, you know. Might do Candice Owens and see just what's going on with her. But there's also my legacy stuff in there. I've done readings on Ghislaine Maxwell. This is years ago. Like, check out some of the archive because you get access to all the archive as well. I did Tucker Carlson a while back. What's his face? Rupert Murdoch. You know, there's you know, there I can really go in and say stuff that I can't say on the main platform. Anyway, without further ado, so thank you for all those people that have joined up. Oh, this is another one. Debbie B. Deb B. Yeah, Debbie. Yeah, but she's done it as a B. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Let's just dive in. Let's see who else is in the chat as everyone piles in. Let me scroll to the top because many of you come in early and I want to try and get in you guys at the top. Oh, what's this here? Gene Spencer says, will the Known Kings March turn into a march of celebration? Wondering if the wannabe king may pass by then, or we get some other good news to celebrate. Well, look, this is where everything will come to a head. Now, you guys will remember probably about, when did I say this? Oh, was it a month ago? Was it 6 weeks ago now? I can't remember. I've done so many videos now. I can't even remember everything that I've done. But regular viewers, you guys will know this. I said October is key. October is key, particularly in regards to Trump and his presidency. And I said the 18th of October in particular, yeah, because I said from 18th, 19th October, this is when Jupiter becomes exalted. So we see several things that are happening, yeah, culminating. Jupiter is already acting exalted, because I always say when a planet is in the last 3 degrees of a sign, Jupiter is currently at 29 degrees. So he's on the cusp of becoming exalted in sidereal Cancer. I always say those planets, they pull the lever. Yeah, they pull the lever, the gas giants. So Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, they pull the lever of the sign they're about to enter before they physically enter it. Normally when they're in the last 3 degrees, like so from 27 degrees onwards, this is when you'll start seeing the effects. And I think Jupiter was at around about 27 degrees on the 1st of October. We have seen things have rapidly escalated then. Just to give you an update, I wanted to set up clips and all of this kind of stuff, but there's never enough time between clients, and then of course I have to, you know, do a bit of sport, exercise, great of course for the heart, and blood pressure, blood sugar. I have to do it. Then I have food with the gents afterwards. This is where we kind of catch up and unwind, and then of course I have that's why I start the show later, around about 1/4 midnight. Right, let me give you some headlines here just to dive in, and then we'll do your questions. I'll ask as many as I'll try and answer as many as I can, but you have asked a lot of questions, so there's a lot to cover. So to give you updates, so what do we know so far? Letitia James, New York AG, has been indicted for alleged fraud following pressure from Degrasse. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's just so ridiculous. So there's that. There's been, I'm not sure how much I'm going to dig into it. It could be fake, but there's been also stuff coming up saying that Meghan Markle was on Prince Andrew's yacht. I think that needs further investigation, because there are a lot of daggers out for her. So, you know, she's damned if she does, she's damned if she doesn't. Although she has recently become very successful with her shows, so I'm sure that's winding up people a little bit. I saw the picture, and I don't think it was her. I saw a Reddit chat, and they actually said that was a model. I can't remember the model's name, but it wasn't Meghan. And also as well, I think the woman is slightly too tall. The body is very similar. Complexion, yes, but she's wearing big sunglasses, unless you can see the eyes, and the nose doesn't look right. Meghan's nose turns up at the end, and her nose was a bit too straight, and the hair wasn't quite right as well. Dark, but it didn't look like Meghan's hair. I'm normally quite good at hair. I remember when they were doing the body double stuff for Kate at one point, and I said the hair's not right. Yeah, it didn't move the right way. This is a close match, but it's not quite her. Although I think she was on one of the yachts. Anyway, that is small beer in comparison to what else is going on. Also as well, what other news do we have? Trump regime, of course, gives Argentina 20 billion. There is a question in that. So look, do you remember how I said, like, this is the rude awakening? Saturn and Neptune are together. Yeah, they're retrograding together at the moment. Neptune is what? Illusions, delusions, cults, scandals, all of these things. What is Saturn? Government, rules, regulations, reality. And as you guys know, I said you watch. I said everyone is going to be getting massive reality checks when Saturn moved into sidereal Pisces, yeah, on the March 29th. Massive reality checks. Has that not been the case? Now, of course, the rusted on of the rusted on will obviously, they've made a soul contract with Trump. If anyone is still supporting Trump now, just let them go. Yeah, they've made a soul contract. If they're still with him at this stage, with all of the douchebaggery that's going on, even though I know that for many of you that's family members and stuff, just let go with love. Yeah, obviously I'm not saying don't see them for Christmas and blah blah blah, but if they are still supporting him, it is a sole contract at this stage, yeah, because this is indefensible. Absolutely categorically indefensible, everything that is going on. And even the farmers, of course, you know, the farmers who should have known better anyway from the last time, absolutely screwed up the wazoo, and Trump's rubbing it in their faces. Yeah. So China has not bought not one bushel of soy from American farmers since the tariffs. They've gone from what, $80-odd billion of revenue to nothing. And then Trump has just bailed out Argentina to the tune of 20 billion, who is a rival to America. And in that time, Javier Milei had a concert. I kid you not. He was there singing. He threw a concert and sang at the concert. So Argentina is rejoicing. And then they temporarily ended their own embargo and sold millions of bushels of soybeans to China. Then they reached their quota and they stopped again. So they're getting 20 billion. I mean, I shouldn't be laughing. This is Americans' tax money here. This is American taxpayers' money here. Yeah. You've got that country, yeah, in the Middle East, yeah, that's got what? Nukes, free healthcare, free education. What do Americans get? Yeah, you guessed it. Nada, nothing, nothing. What else is it going to take to wake these people up? He's an utter charlatan, and they voted for it. Now they're finding out. A lot of these farmers, they're not going to make it for this bailout that Trump says they're going to get at the end of, what is it, 2026 or whatever. Yeah, whatever. Good luck with that, folks. You're going to lose your farms, and then you're going to be bought out by big corporations, which is Vice President Acre Trader. Yeah, remember, he's got Acre Trader, which buys up American farmland for dollars on the dime, and they're going to have to work on their own farms that they used to own. Honestly, they need a giant slap. These people, slap. But I knew that Saturn would do the job, and he's got his stick out, yeah, and he's pop. Illusion, delusion, illusion, delusion, pop, slap, until these people wake up. And they are waking up. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And they are out of business. And I'm sorry, it's what they deserve. Because this was all written on the wall. He didn't even, Duck L'Orange, liar extraordinaire, he told the truth from time to time. And they didn't believe. Oh, and anyway, never mind. Something else I need to tell you about as well. There's so much news happening here. This is now, I can't call it breaking news. This is more insider news. And I was watching, according to this podcast, which is called Lay's Real Talk. I'll have to link it at some point if I remember in the description section below. Allegedly, Xi Jinping has had a stroke, a massive stroke. If he has had a stroke, this will be his third. Yeah, third. One, I can't remember, she was telling me the different times, but this will be the third one. There are various different conspiracies. Well, I want to call them conspiracies. There's various different accounts going around. Xi Jinping is in a bit of trouble. Yeah. They want change. Now, you will remember, do you remember me as saying as well, I wasn't only just talking about Jupiter, that transiting Jupiter becoming exalted, standing on Trump's natal Saturn and giving him issues. I was also a member as well as saying K2 is currently going through the sign of Leo, and that can mean, you remember I said endings for leaders. Yeah. We're going to see people in leadership end. Why? Because K2 is snip. Leo is what? Leaders, prominent people, actors, artists, musicians, anyone who is prominent out there in the world. And apparently there is a controversy that is gripping all of China, which is to do with the death of a Chinese actor who goes by the name of, what is he called? Yu Menlong. Yu Menlong, whose sadly crumpled body was found at the bottom of a high-rise building, and the authorities say, oh, he slipped because of alcohol, and everything's been move on, nothing to see here. And this is all what a lot of people apparently are talking about in China. So there's that. And of course, Leo is what? Actors. However, spiritual leaders, this is the positive of this K2 going through Leo. Spiritual leaders, people that give guidance, people that give advice, people that give wisdom, knowledge, and ancient teachings, they are going to be doing well. Yeah, because K2 deals with those things, and K2 actually has MAGA Nakshatra. Actually, that Nakshatra belongs to him. MAGA Nakshatra, Mula, and Ashwini, yeah, are all K2 ruled nakshatras. So K2 does very well in fire signs. He becomes very, very powerful. But what happens is when K2 is powerful, he loves being in fire signs and water signs. He spiritualizes more. So we see actually more snip. We see more endings in order that we become more spiritualized. Yeah, a lot of people are what? Losing a lot of stuff. These farmers, they're losing their livelihood, their land, and they are not being bailed out. That money's going to Argentina, and that's not a conspiracy theory, as we know. So yeah, they're getting what? Snip. But people that are elevating consciousness, this is a great time, guys, to be doing your meditation, your positive affirmations, your prayers, singing to the higher angels. What we need to remember as well, the royal stars are also associated with archangels. Aldebaran is Archangel Michael. Famalat, the star, Archangel Michael, Aldebaran in the eye of the ball, star of spring. Star of winter is Famalat, Archangel Gabriel in the constellation of Sidereal Aquarius. Antari is the star of fall, also known as the star of war, Archangel Uriel, yeah, war strategy. And then Regulus, yeah, in MAGA Nakshatra, Archangel Raphael, yeah, star of summer. Yeah, many of you who have consultations with me have planets or their ascendant conjunct these royal stars. It's astonishing how regular that is. What we also need to remember as well, to top everybody up, let's not forget Uranus is going what? Retrograde, close again to the star Agol. Remember, the star Agol deals with what? Assassinations, things to the head. Charlie Kirk, of course, recently. Yeah, it was there, the head. We've also had what? The France lose another prime minister. Yeah, resigned only a few days ago. Yeah, Leo leadership, all of this kind of stuff. All sorts of people leaving the earth, and all sorts of transformations. So big changes for China. Watch this space. I cannot confirm that he has had a stroke, but according to this person, who seems to be very, very well connected, he's either had a stroke, or a stroke is being used as an excuse to sideline Xi, or there's even speculating that it may have been induced. Yeah. And then also as well, what I need to talk about, of course, is Stephen Miller's comment. Oh my God. Do you remember that? Stephen Miller's comment on CNN, where he says that Trump has plenary authority. Yeah, have you been seeing this, going around the road? And it's to do with Title 10 and the armed forces and stuff. Stephen Miller, yeah, Goebbels. And he really, when you look at my analysis for his chart, there is a strong correlation there. There really is. I think there is quite a strong argument that he may be the reincarnation of Goebbels. He certainly has a lot in common. And apparently at CK's funeral, he also quoted Goebbels, by the way. This guy is sick, yeah? He stood up on CNN and said that Trump, or the executive, has plenary authority, which basically translates as unchecked power without any caveat, unchecked, absolute. The power of a king, basically. And I don't know if you guys saw the clip. He literally froze and he says, oh, yeah, that article 10, basically the executive has plenary powers. And he went, like that. And then CNN were like, oh, Stephen, do we have some kind of technical error? Hey, I think we got some technical error. And they went to a commercial break. They got that biatch back on and they cut out the section where he effed up on camera. That, for me, is even more disgraceful than what the guy said, because what Stephen said was, he said the quiet part out loud, which we know what the thing is. Do you think that Degrasse uses the word plenary when he's describing his powers? That is a Stephen Miller idea. And when I looked at his chart, and I could see it with Caroline Levitt as well, they have built their identity, their kingdom in Trump's body, his persona. The son of Stephen Miller and the son of, in terms of astrology, the son of Caroline Levitt are both at 7 degrees of sidereal Leo, which is exactly conjunct Trump's ascendant at 6 degrees 57 minutes, basically 7 minutes. Yeah, all in cahoots. And the reason why he paused like that is because he was talking about himself. You think Degrasse knows what plenary authority is? He just wants absolute power, yeah, but he would never use those words. Otherwise, it would have slipped out of his mouth earlier. It shows it's him, Stephen, who's planted that. He's talking about himself. All that Trump cares about is his ballrooms and, you know, making billions. That's it. What else do I have to share with you? Oh, also as well, there's been a lot of weird phenomena happening in China as well. This is before Xi Jinping allegedly having this stroke. Glass or death orchids sprouting everywhere. So this type of orchid in China, which is see-through, they call it a glass orchid. And it's synonymous with death or some big figure dying. There have been clouds, strange cloud formations, locusts, scores of locusts eating things, flies swarming, and frogs. I mean, I'm talking biblical. I've been seeing the footage, biblical stuff, weird cloud formations. Oh, and blood red rain as well. I kid you not. Kid you not. And there's been these things in the sky where there's this reflective phenomena. There's been halos around the sun, and the sun always deals with leaders. And there's in China, like the sun has been reflected. So it looks like there's several suns. And in China, they say when phenomena like this happens, it often means the leader is going to change or die or something like that. And then just reported that Xi is not in a good way. Allegedly. This person says that if he does show up, if it's a lower ranking event, he'll use his body double to go in place. Anyway, let me just dive in. There is just so much going on. I want to say thank you as well to, thank you, Tracy Castle. Much appreciated. Denise Fletcher, thank you for joining. Joanne J, thank you for joining. Mary Miller, thank you so much for joining. Now, look, I've got so many questions and I've already spoken a lot already, so forgive me, guys. We're going to rip through. Let's see. Denise Ferguson says it's now been reported Argentina's first bailout came from Wall Street hedge funds. Oh, surprise, surprise. By the way, the crypto markets are tanking right now, by the way. The second bailout is not for Argentina, but to protect Wall Street from financial loss. Will this second bailout backfire? Well, listen, guys. Do you remember I said significant things are going to happen, not only for Trump's health or his status, but also the economy. Yeah, the economy. When Jupiter becoming enlightened, becoming exalted on Superficially sounds good. Yeah, he's the planet of knowledge, wisdom, expansion, all of this stuff. But this is what I really think it means. I think it really means is that the average person wakes up. The average person starts going, you know what, this is not working. And you guys will remember I did a video, many moons ago now, where I was looking at the French Revolution, and I may have done it on my financial channel. And there were certain configurations that are very similar in the sky right now to the French Revolution. Saturn and Neptune are together again, but in the time of the French Revolution, they were in Virgo, sidereal Virgo. They're now in sidereal Pisces, which is what? Opposite. Yeah. There were other configurations that were the same, I think with Rahu and Ketu, but the most important one was that Jupiter was exalted when the French Revolution started. Jupiter's going to become exalted on the 18th of October, guys. It's now the 11th of October because, of course, I'm slightly ahead of you guys. So that's a week from now. Also, as well, there is a No King's March. You remember I said there's going to be big events. There's a second No King's March planned for, guess what? The 18th of October. This will also coincide with whether or not, in regards to the tariffs. Remember, the tariffs were declared illegal and they were given temporary stay. That temporary stay, as far as I'm aware, runs out on, guess when? The 18th of October. So this means that the Supreme Court, the government is going to have to, the regime is going to have to lodge an appeal with the Supreme Court to have it struck down or whatever to keep things going. But they say this is such a flagrant breach of the law that, you know, basically SCOTUS would have to uphold it, but we'll have to see. Remember, they're utterly compromised. But imagine this. Imagine what the financial ramifications are going to be if the tariffs have to be paid back. What that means, all that money that they've got, which isn't as much, nearly as much as they said, would have to be paid back. And they've just given $20 billion to Argentina. Do you see? This is hot mess stuff. Anyway, Wall Street. It's now reported. So sorry, I'm speaking so quick, but there's just so much to cover. And now reported Argentina's first bailout came from Wall Street. The second bailout, but to protect Wall Street from financial loss. Will this second bailout backfire? Well, maybe that's why the crypto markets are down, because of this news. Wall Street. This is not sustainable, guys. Like I said, this will not last. This bullshit, there's no other word for it. Yeah, this BS cannot last. It is not sustainable. It is not. How can we have a stock market sky high when everyone knows that we're in recession? You know, all that stuff is an AI bubble. Wall Street, I think Wall Street Journal and Financial Times, and not just that, don't quote me on that, but Bank of England and another big financial banker said AI is a big bubble. Sam Altman, the guy who is the ChatGPT, and Jeff Bezos have both said it's a bubble. It's a bubble. At some point it has to pop. Everything else, pretty much apart from education in America and health, everything else is in recession. And hospitality, just forget about it. They're underground. They're dead and buried already. Wall Street. Oh, gosh. I'm trying to stay calm. You know, I get very passionate. Mars in the first house, everyone. Makes me red as well. Gives me this red color. Oh, my God. Madness, huh? Let's see. Wall Street. Let's see what's going on with Wall Street. Dicey. I'm not seeing full crash yet. I'm seeing that more 2026, yeah, when the United States goes into its Rahu Ketu dasha. Yeah, that can be quite a devastating combo, yeah. But that is, I think, summer of 2026, something like that. Anyway, look, this is what I've got. We look here, we're talking about Wall Street. Yeah, we get the King of Swords. Remember, I also associate the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords with what? Accounting, money, finance. Yeah, it's more to do with like the accounting side of it. So, of course, Wall Street, of course, is full of what? Bankers. Yeah, people who count money, accountants, bankers, all of this kind of stuff. This can talk about being astute, being sharp, but the shadow of this card is cruelty. Yeah, so, you know, the King of Swords comes with an edge. And it can also as well talk about people with lighter hair or lighter eyes. Yeah, the swords in general. However, look what's in the obstacle position to Wall Street. Yeah, the world, the globe. This is the global economy. This is also talking about cycles. Yeah, the grand cycle coming to an end and something new beginning. So what this suggests to me is that Wall Street, in its current form, and all of this AI bubble stuff that is going on, this is telling me that this is going to be the end of a grand cycle. Yeah, it's not sustainable. You can't have the world's largest economy just being propped up by AI speculation, while at the same time that same AI is getting rid of hundreds of thousands of jobs. When I last checked, America had lost over 800,000 jobs, and that was the reports from last month. Imagine what it is now. How is this sustainable? What are people going to do? What can they buy if they don't have a job? It just doesn't work. Yeah, it's something's coming to an end. However, if we look here, we have the democracy card. Yeah, the King of Cups. And then next to that, we have the Ace of Cups. So there is an element here of some kind of wish fulfillment, happiness, even something overflowing. So what this suggests to me is, even though it's not great for the economy to see Wall Street go down, everyone who lives and works in the real economy knows that the recession has been going on for a good while now. Yeah, you talk to ordinary people and they will tell you exactly that. Inflation, blah blah blah. So this isn't a shock. Yeah, but could it be that this cycle coming to an end, does it maybe make more people like a bit more like this, a bit more compassionate? We're talking about Wall Street here, so I think compassion might be a bit thin on the ground. If we look here, we have got the Nine of Wands, which is the embattlement. Yeah, the embattled soldier. So what I'm going to say is, I don't think it's going to be like mega crash until next year, but it is dicey. Yeah, it is tricky. Keep an eye on your 401ks. Yeah, make sure, particularly if you're retiring soon, make sure that your portfolios are diversified, that you don't have too much risk and exposure, yeah, to these AI companies or these .com companies, because they're saying this is like the .com bubble again. Yeah, always make sure, if you can afford it, buy a little bit of gold or silver, a physical, yeah, not just the paper note, the physical. I know that's a bit old school, and I know gold prices have rocketed up. I mean, I bought myself some gold coins and some little silver bars a few years ago because I knew the way the economy was going, innit? I'm an astrologer, yeah, and I do financial astrology. That gold that I would have, physical gold, or the physical gold that I would have bought back then, I think has what, doubled in price. It may even have tripled in price. I mean, I mean, I'm not going to be splashing money on gold coins now because it's $4,000 an ounce, but do you know what I mean? Anyway, let's look at the next one. So not complete crash for Wall Street yet, but it's dicey, guys, dicey out there. All right, let's just see here. Oh, we got to look at that. Okay, well, let's see what else. That's quiet. Here we are. We've got to do this one. So Kimberly Canoose, I think, says, why does the US need a Qatari military base in the state of Idaho? I know, you tell me. Hog's Breath, she said, apparently approved it. Near out US Mount Home Air Base, perhaps, or or more of the north where militants once trod. And then Denise Fergens replied to her and said, this is unbelievable. The US is allowing a foreign government to have a military facility inside our country. Guess the jet Duck L'Orange received wasn't a gift after all. It appears the United States is currently for sale. Absolutely. That's exactly what this is about. But let's see what the cards have to say. No one just gives a plane. Yeah. Oh, the generosity out of our generous bosom. Yeah. Duck L'Orange, we want you to live and fly in comfort for the rest of your days. Here, just take this. Now you hear about Qatari. Trump is the biggest prostitute out there. Duck L'Orange. Honestly, absolute. He would make the whore of Babylon blush. And I mean that archetypally, you know, we all have a prostitute archetype. He is just, oh my God, harlot, absolute harlot. That's what he is. Just selling America to the highest bidder. Oh, look, a card twisted out. You see? Wanting to move to smoother waters. Also, as well, when I was talking about Trump's health stuff as well, remember as well, the 12th house is also exiled. You remember I keep saying that. Foreign lands, the land of far, far away, retirement, endings, exile. It's not just hospitals and prisons as well. Is that hospitals and prisons? Also far away lands, exile. If the heat gets too much, yeah, maybe Duck L'Orange will do that. If his heart is still working. I'm sure they're fixing him up on the side. Honestly, they must have the Formula One team in there kind of pumping him up with stuff. Anyway, I digress. Qatar military base in Idaho. What's the energy of this? God, I feel like I'm just on one giant rant tonight, but there's just so much going on. And you know I take that global perspective. Idaho. What's going on with Idaho? Oh God, this guy, honestly, Duck L'Orange. If we look here, the first card that comes out, yeah. Now this is the military base, but remember the cards will always speak about wider stuff. Four of Swords. Now you guys know this from my readings. This for me is much more a card of death than the actual death card itself. This really does deal with endings. Why? Look, the guy is dead. Yeah, the mausoleum, the funeral has happened. This guy is going nowhere. Now, in the positive, it can talk about reflection. Yeah, reflection, meditation, pondering something as the light from the stained glass window comes in. However, I associate this, for me, this is the career ending card, or someone's career is coming to an end. Someone could literally be dead. Or someone is trying to end their career. Do you remember when I got this card for Zelensky before he went into the White House and had that? And you remember I said, I'm a bit worried for him. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to get assassinated, but it's like they're going to try and end his career in some kind of way. And you remember they did that dog attack on him and virtually, and it also turns out that JD Vance and some other douchebag approached someone in Zelensky's government to overthrow Zelensky. So look, this energy is back here, but this is talking about Qatar in Idaho, but this could be talking about Trump's career as well. Let's just see. If we look here, they're going to spin it. Yeah, look, we've got the the Knight of Cups. This is also the card, the envoy, the spokesperson, seduction. Yeah, this is what the peace offering. This is Qatar. Yeah, this is Qatar. making that offering of the plane. Yeah. And then look, they're happy. Yeah, Qatar is happy. But this could also talk as well. Whenever I see this card and whenever Duck L'Orange is in the vicinity and I see this card, for me, it is the women, the girls and women of Epstein. Yeah, even though they're celebrating, for me, energetically, this is what it represents. And I think this is coming through as well, because apparently they do now have approval to release the files. But obviously, they have to keep the government shut down to stop people coming back together. Just in case we weren't sure, look, the devil's here. Yeah, this thing stinks to high heaven. It is corrupt, morally bankrupt and corrupt. Duck L'Orange accepted this offering for Qatar, which was the plane, but it was really about the military bases as well. And this is what is emerging. What is now emerging is the devil part. Yeah, that secret dealings, the attachments. And then, of course, here, the Nine of Swords, showing the despair not only of the public, but I think this will also be the despair of military generals as well, yeah, who are despairing over what has happened. They're probably thinking, is this the end? Yeah, is this the end? Is this the death of the military as we know it? It's a foreign... Anyway, I have to try and stay calm. Deep breaths. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Right, let's get into the next juicy question. I need to hurry up. Let's just see here. Oh, yes. Jerry. Oh, yes, because she asked the question. And then let's just see here. Fragment of the... Oh, God, we have to talk about that as well. Oh, there's so much to talk about. All right, let's do this. So Fizzlers asks, hi, Hogarth. Apparently a fragment or the bullet that hit Charlie K lodged in his neck, and it is a different caliber than Tyler's gun. Was this a staged attempted assassination that went wrong? The bullet wasn't meant to hit him. There wasn't meant to be a bullet to fire there wasn't meant to be a bullet to find. Then Tyler would have been the perfect in a trans relationship fall guy for Charlie's lives. Sorry, just the wording. I don't believe Charlie was party to it. Love your work. Listen, watch that video that I did on Erica Kirk. The answers are there. I am not joking. Many of you have watched their video and they can corroborate what I said in that video. I read what did I do? I read her cards. Dodgy. I would go as far as to say for entertainment purposes, she knew. And may have even been complicit. I'd go that far. And I say a thing or two about Duck L'Orange and Netanyahu in that video as well. But check it out for yourself. I don't want to say too much here on YouTube. Right, let's take a look. Charlie Kirk. I mean, I know it's a setup, but let's see what the cards say. And particularly if we get cards like the Seven of Cups, which is illusions, delusions, creating a false narrative. If we get things like the Seven of Swords, isn't it? The guy stealing things. If we get skullduggery cards, we'll see. Let's see. Charlie Kirk. If the Empress shows up, it's in this context. If the Empress shows up, it's not Russia in this context. It's Erica. Yeah. Because she came up in my reading that and that anyway. Let me not preempt. Charlie Kirk scenario set up. Yeah, set up. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a partnership. We look here. This is the whole scenario. Yeah, this was researched. Yeah, the Hermit is about going within, but it's not just that. It's also a card of research, planning. Yeah, this is stuff that is oh, what's that? Oh God, it's happening as forecasted. Global seismic swarm accelerate. Oh my God, there's all these notifications that I'm getting, and Joy Reader's got a video up as well, talking about Tish indicted, the Joy Reid show live. Anyway, here, planning, research, yeah. The Hermit doing something behind closed doors, working on something. It's in this whole Charlie K scenario. If we look here, those that were behind this, yeah, those that, so planning, yeah, so yes, was this planned? Yes, absolutely, this was planned, yeah, researched, worked out. Why? Because they were feeling under attack. Yeah, they were feeling under attack. You see here, this is someone who's trying to defend their land or defend a viewpoint or defend a political perspective or a scenario, perhaps. Yeah, like what's going on in the Middle East. Yeah, and they were feeling under attack. Yeah, under attack. So they had to change things. Yeah, they had to change. Look, the Wheel of Fortune, fate and destiny. They had to do something that would turn, yeah, that would turn the wheel, yeah, to maybe what? Change this difficult scenario, yeah? A certain place getting a lot of bad press, yeah? They had to do something that was going to what? Change the fate and destiny, move the cycle on, particularly what? The news cycle. And this is what happened, yeah, essentially. Yeah, we got the 6, yeah, the 6 of swords, moving to smoother waters. Yeah, this is about what? Moving that story on. No one believes it. No one in their right mind believes it. But the CK incident was so shocking. Yeah, it's kind of derailed people for a bit. And just in case we weren't sure, look at this. 2 of Cups, which is the card of what? Partnership, deals, marriage. This for me is even more about marriage than the Lovers. Yeah, because the Lovers is also about making decisions. I also associate with imports, exports. It's about big, big decisions stuff. This is literally the card of deals, marriage. Yeah, so that can also talk about what? A spouse. Let me pull a clarifier on that. This whole thing stinks. He was absolutely stitched up. Absolutely stitched up. Not that I support anything he said. I only got to know even more about the guy after he was shot dead, and what I saw I did not like. But to be betrayed like that, wow. What's the clarification on this 2 of Cups? What can you tell the spirit about? Yeah. There's 2 of Cups. Yeah, that's the money. It's always the same. It's always the same. Look, someone was feeling a bit cornered, yeah? Charlie had changed his stance, yeah? Wasn't supporting a certain narrative, yeah? Feeling embattled, yeah? But then the wife steps in, yeah? This is the card, Queen of Pentacles. It's about security, domesticity, looking after the money, yeah? Do you notice how closely she's holding that coin? And just in case we weren't sure, look at this. 2 of Pentacles, juggling. Yeah, the stormy seas lie behind. This can also be a card that deals with manipulation as well. Yeah, remember these, changing up the narrative. Yeah, getting the wheel of fortune to turn. A marriage partner. Yeah, a spouse. Yeah, a wife. Juggling the money. Yeah, a certain wife is now the CEO. Yeah, of Turning Point. Oh, and of course, yeah, think about it. Turning Point, yeah, turning, wheel. Ah, bless. With spouses like that, who needs enemies, eh? Wow. Just bloody wow. All right, let me just bring you guys in a little bit. God, I'm just gassing so much. Wow, there's oh, this is a record for me. 1,101 of you in right now. Thank you. 106, 1,106 now as well. Let's just see here who else is in the chat. Oh, let me say some thank yous as well. Some more new members here. So Denise, I think I may have called you out. Thank you. Joanne, thank you so much. Mary, thank you so much for becoming a member. Cat and a Catmon, thank you so much for your kind donation. Much appreciated. Another new member here, Astro Chick. Astro Chick became a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Wendy as well. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Who else do we have here? Pamela. Thank you so much for joining, guys. You're in for a treat. There's lots of juicy stuff in there. All right, let's get into. Oh, okay. So I won't pull on it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out some of the questions that I left just so people get acknowledged, and then I'll read on one or two. So Nick Mink says 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck off southern coast of Philippines, prompting tsunami warnings from Philippine and Indonesian authorities. Do cards show that this level of magnitude event will continue as an influx of 6 large plus earthquakes hit the ring of fire, and then it ran out? Well, look, Uranus, do you remember what I was saying? Uranus and Neptune both deal with earthquakes. As you guys know, I said earthquakes around the world will become more common once Uranus entered sidereal Taurus, because it's what? An earth sign, and it did on 1st of June last year. Look at all the earthquake stories that we're getting. He is currently going retrograde back towards the star, our goal. Yeah, so shocks, surprises, people being deposed, assassinations, careers ending, people getting strokes, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Let's see. Oh, right. Yes, this is a good one. Oh, in fact, let me just, where's one from Jerry Gelding? Because she did ask me twice. Where is she? You see, I didn't have time to go through in my usual way. Jerry. Oh, here we are. Here we are. Also asking again about the military's response to the Orange Menace illegal orders. Will they act against the citizens or refuse to comply? Better yet, will they take him out for treason? So let's just see. Will they carry out Duck Larange's orders? Let's just ask that. Will they carry out his orders? If we get yes cards, then that is a yes, unfortunately. But if we get surprising cards or the Tower or sneaky cards, then they may not obey fully. Yeah, so let's see. Will they obey Duck Larange's orders? Especially now as Stephen Miller lets slip that Trump, according to his eyes, has plenary powers. So this could just be redundant, yeah? So anyway, let's just see. Will the military obey? If we get yes cards, then that means yes. If we get rebellious cards, then that means no. Let's see. Will the military support Duck Larange? Will they support Duck Larange? Will they support Duck Larange? Will they support Duck Larange? And I hope you guys are liking this combination of tarot and the astrology. Fine, when you blend the two, oh my God. Ah! 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 Well. Now remember what I said. The question was, will the military obey Duck Larange? And I said, if we get yes cards, positive cards, then it means yes. But I said, if we get stealthy or sneaky cards, probably no. Look at this. First card out of the deck, yeah? Look, we got here. Page of Swords. This card deals with media, but it's not just that. Remember, pages are messages of all kind, but a sharp kind of message. This can also be referred to as the spy in the camp or malicious gossip. The generals have not liked what they have seen. Yeah, as you saw, they were stony-faced in that hedgehog's address, yeah? Stony, in fact, I'm not even going to call him hedgehog because hedgehogs are sweet, beautiful creatures. Hegseth, that douchebag. Anyway, they are having conversations, private conversations with each other that are probably sharp and critical in nature. Look at this. Ta-da! 7 of Swords, yeah? Spy in the camp. This is a what? A naughty card. This is a card of theft, yeah? Of rebellion. So what this said, think about it. There are private conversations. This means there are private conversations happening in the military of a sharp and critical nature. About what? Yeah? A plan. Now, for me, when I'm reading for people and it's non-political, this is my card of cunning. They have to present an implacable face. But it doesn't mean they believe in what he's saying, yeah? If we look here, we do have the Knight of Pentacles, which can talk about the mercenary, yeah? The paid up people. I think this will be ice, yeah? Because the shadow of this card is the mercenary, the one who's paid to do the bidding of the king, yeah? Here. So this is talking about ice. However, look at this. We get the death card, yeah? Death, transformation. Now, it's not always literally death. Like I said, the 4 of Swords for me is more literally to do with death. This is about a transformation that cannot be avoided. I think the senior generals in the military have realized that we've reached an inflection point, a transformational point, particularly with Stephen Miller letting slip about plenary powers, which means that they are irrelevant, yeah? There is plenary powers means no check on power. And they're probably like, The important thing to understand with the death card here, you've got the pillars of truth, yeah, that also show up in the moon card, but they're much closer. By this time, the person has walked through. Here is death in armor, implacable, yeah, as what? As the king is trampled underneath. Yeah, this is probably... Look, there's a woman here clutching a child. This is probably Caroline Levitt or something like that, yeah? And then, look, you've got the Pope here pleading. Now, we know the American Pope would not be doing this with Duck L'Orange, but this is also representing authority, the established order, yeah? It's like the Hierophant, yeah, also as the Pope, but here. So what this says to me is something has changed in the military now. Yes, Duck L'Orange does have... He does have his ICE agents. Remember, they are not trained. They are mercenaries. Look at the outcome card. 10 of Swords. Something has to end. Now, what this says to me is the way I interpret this is that senior levels in the military are probably trying to figure out a way how to end this. I'm going to read it backwards, yeah? They probably want to end this regime. Yeah, the transformations, they're going too far. Yeah, this is like, it's like a death squad, yeah, the Nazis. They also understand that there are these mercenaries out there, but they are not as well trained as military people. They're going to have to come up, they're going to have to be stealthy. Yeah, they can't be obvious about their intentions. They're going to have to be stealthy in what it is that they do. This card is also about weakening the camp. So it could be, for example, some orders are obeyed, but others are not. Some actions are carried out, but maybe not fully. Yeah. And then at some point, there's going to have to be some dialogue here. They're going to have to confront. Yeah, they're going to have to confront the regime. Or maybe there's a media leak or something like that. But that does give me a little bit hope. I hope those cards are right. But those were not yes cards for them obeying Trump. I'm sure we can all agree on that. So thanks for that question, Jerry. Let me see. Oh, my gosh, the time has gone in such a flash. We talked about that. Denise Ferguson also said there's another national no Kings protest planned for October 18th. I'm concerned Duck L'Orange will take this opportunity to use black flag events to validate using the Insurrection Act. Republicans are currently telling media it's a Soros-funded event. Doubt it will be peaceful. What will be the overall energy for the October 18th protest? I think that's an important question to ask. And I'll have to call it a day there. Sorry if I've missed some of your question folks. But you know, I can't go much longer than an hour, especially at this time of night as well. I need to rest up. So let's see here. This is about October 18th, yeah, when Jupiter is going to sit right on smack dab on Duck Larange's Jupiter. Yeah. Oh, I think a few more of you have joined as well. Astro Chick, I think we read you, and then Wendy Burt, thank you. Pamela Gallis, Sue T, thank you so much, and Lenny or Len 1949, thank you, much appreciated. All right. October 18th, no King's protests. How will they go? Well, I hope it's calm, but if we get bombastic cards, then you'll know what that will mean, particularly if we see the Tower, Death card again. We do not want to see the Four of Swords. That could mean literal death. If we get the Knight of Pentacles, that means the Mercenaries. That means ice. Maybe that could start to become my card for ice. Plenary Powers. Douchebags. Well, well, well. Well, this is fascinating. These cards have come out very positive. There's no other word for it. You'll see what I mean. Look. What's that? Just double check. Yeah, Six of Wands. Six of Wands, which is the card of what? Marching into victory. Yeah, so maybe these will start to make quite an impact. Yeah, these marches. Maybe they'll make quite an impact, particularly when we look at the next card here, which we do have is the Magician. Now, however, this is technically arriving in the obstacle position, but when the first card is positive, I say it's reinforcing. However, the shadow of this card is manipulation. So the regime is definitely going to try and manipulate the situation, and they're going to do all in their power to try and make it look a certain way. However, it does seem to be quite victorious, yeah? And this could also talk about the marchers, the protesters, you know, using everything in their power as well. If we look here, we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is a card, of course, wealth, luxury, success, desires, getting what you want. So there could be some success here. Also, as well, this could do with compensation and payouts and stuff, because you remember what they said, what's it called? Grinder Mike Johnson was saying apparently that these federal workers that have been furloughed don't have to have back pay. I mean, what BS is that? I think that could be challenged. That would be challenged in the courts, and they could get some payouts. If we look here as well, we've got the Page of Pentacles here. I think, guys, this is also, it's talking about the March, but it's also talking about the economy, because there's so many there's the Pentacle cards here. So there is that. So there's also going to be announcements. Oh, of course. Remember the tariffs. The tariffs. Remember the tariffs is supposed to time out or whatever. Unless they, you never know. Duck Larange, Pam Bondi could do some bullshit move and get the Supreme Court to side with them or whatever. This is not a done deal yet. If they have to pay back those tariffs, it will be a disaster. But there could be news on that. Yeah, and it's due on the 18th or thereabouts. Then the outcome card is the Queen of Cups. And as Lady G often refers to this cup as the cup of abominations. What this means is, look, I think that the second round of these marches, yeah, literally someone marching, I think they'll be broadly successful. However, there is going to be manipulation. Yeah, the regime is going to try and manipulate things to make it look worse than it is. We also have the vested interests as well of the billionaires, but this could also talk about people maybe getting payouts or furloughed. I hope they do, for those who've been furloughed. There will be news around the economy around this time as well. This could also be talking about jobs, yeah, things like that. Pentacles also do with money, income. And then here we have the Queen of Cups with a cup of abominations, as it were. Normally it's a very sensitive, creative card, but we're talking about politics here. I think this might be to do with the files as well. I think this could be also to do with the Epstein files. So look, it's looking broadly positive. This could be a record turnout again. However, the regime is going to try and manipulate it in some kind of way. Yeah, they're going to be spinning all kinds of yarns and stories, but I'm not sure if it will stick. But those cards were broadly positive. I'm sure you would agree. Right, I have to leave it there. Thank you. Let me just say some more thank yous. So many to all of you new members, much appreciated. Thank you as well for joining me live. Much appreciated that, and all of your questions and supporting my channel. Please, of course, be sure to like and subscribe and share. The channel's really growing now, and I really appreciate that. And it seems to me that the people are really starting to appreciate my content now. And I'm not saying that it wasn't appreciated before. Many of you have been with me for years, but you know what I mean, guys. You know what I mean. I think people are really starting to appreciate the content, the tarot readings, and also as well the Neo-Vedic astrology and the accuracy. Oh, and before I forget as well, I did a reading on Venezuela months ago, yeah, because as you know, I'm having this retreat 7th to the 11th of November in Aguamadera in Ibiza. Yeah, many of you know that. It's going to be in the description below. But a dear friend of mine who I work with called Neliana, she's from Venezuela, and we've been talking a lot about the country, and she's saying, please, can you do a reading on the country to see if anything would change? And I said, the Dasha sequence of Venezuela is going to change. I said, there's going to be significant changes in the country, particularly from the 1st of June, 2025. This is when the Mercury Dasha began. It always starts a few weeks before, but this is when it was official. Look what has happened since. Trump is trying to declare war on Venezuela. Fishermen have been shot out of the water. But most importantly, that woman, the woman who is the true leader of Venezuela, was cheated in the elections by Maduro. I've just forgotten her name, but she's just won what? The Peace Prize. And she is actually the true leader, but she's been in exile. She's sort of like hidden within the country. So do you see how this energetic shift is happening now for Venezuela? They are now on a new 16-year trajectory. Yeah, that's how long the Dasha, no, 17 years, sorry. Mercury is a 17-year Dasha. So change, yeah, is coming to Venezuela. I hope it's going to work out really well for them. But the Mercury, I just checked the chart, is in the 8th house of sex, death, rock and roll, transformation. Yeah. So Venezuela is going to transform a lot, and we're just seeing the beginning of it. Let's hope it's for the better. Right. I will leave it there. Forgive me for not remembering the, here we are. I did write it down. Maria Corina Machado. Yeah, wins the Nobel Peace Prize. I hope I said her name correctly. So congratulations, great for her. Let's hope this is a positive turn as well for Venezuela. Obviously, Duck L'Orange is going to be seething, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. Oh, someone else as well. Let me just click on and say another thank you. Thank you to Libas as well for your kind donation. Much appreciated. I will leave it there, folks. You will next see me, of course, on the Wednesday show. I'll see if I can give you something on Monday. Definitely membership. You'll probably be getting a new video on Monday. Yeah, so let me know who you want me to look at. I could look at Candice Owens, but whoever you want me to look at, I'll do a deep dive. And, of course, the tarot as well, just to see what's going on. But let me tell you, that Stephen Miller, and Erica, you'll see for yourself. Anyway, big love, everyone. I'm going to leave it there. Bye-bye for now. Cheers.